A righteous sense of humor. Judith Vorst, a prominent American author, has written a children's book called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Since some of our days are a little like that, I couldn't help reading it. It goes like this, told from the eyes of a child, Alexander. He says, I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair, and when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped over the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink when the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Ever have a day like Alexander's? Listen further, it gets worse. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car in his cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover code ring, but in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. Next, Alexander says, at school, Miss Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loudly. At the math time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16 anyway? But perhaps the worst for Alexander was this. He says, there were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch bag, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a jelly roll with little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? And so goes Alexander's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. How do you cope with your terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days? Everybody has them. They are inevitable. Most of us have become firm believers in Murphy's famous law, if anything can go wrong, it will. And have you heard O'Toole's commentary on Murphy's law? He says, Murphy was an optimist. Most of us face life's tougher days, our scratchy confrontations with our bayonets up, fists clenched, ready for a frontal attack. But some have learned that you can solve most any problem with humor. As one writer suggested, humor can be used for patching up differences, apologizing, saying no, criticizing, getting the other fellows to do what you want without losing face. A couple of friends of mine were in Buenos Aires, Argentina, not too long ago. As they approached their hotel, with their arms full of materials for their convention, an obviously anti-American bird flew by and wreaked havoc on them, and I mean havoc. As they stood and looked at each other, my friends had several alternatives. They could have 1. Cursed a blue streak, 2. Sued the hotel, 3. Gone to their room and sulked, 4. Been angry the rest of the day, or 5. Returned to the States and shot every bird in sight. The options are endless. Well, my friends didn't do any of those things. In fact, one friend turned to the other and, with a very straight face, commented, you know, for some people they sing. It took 5 minutes for the two of them to stop laughing before they could enter the hotel. A potential disaster, especially in attitude, was avoided. How's your sense of humor? It can save those no good, terrible days. It can save your sanity. It can save your marriage. Humor is often the best way to keep a small misunderstanding from escalating into a big deal. A friend had a squabble with his wife as she drove him to the airport. Airborne, he felt miserable, and he knew she did too. 2 hours after she returned home, she received a long-distance phone call, the operator said, person to person for his missus. I apologize. In a twinkling, the whole day changed from grim to lovely at both ends of the wire. The Lord had something interesting to say about a sense of humor, referring to us all. He said, a merry heart doth good like a medicine. I want you to understand that when I speak of a sense of humor, the kind the Lord refers to, it is a special kind of humor. It's refined, fun, uplifting. It is not, in the slightest degree, a biting, facetious, sarcastic, unclean sense of humor. That kind of laugh only injures, depresses, and dulls the senses. Instead of relieving tension, it causes it. No, the kind of humor I'm talking about helps put all of life into perspective. It's so easy for any of us to blow up our tasks all out of proportion, to take ourselves too seriously, to explode, in the face of an incident that only deserves a laugh. It's at that point that we need to remember what the wittiest among us have said to deflate the pompous. Mark Twain said, man was made at the end of the week's work, when God was tired. Will Rogers, taking the lawmakers down a notch, said, the oldest boy became a congressman, and the second son turned out no good, too. The ability to laugh at oneself is critical to making it through life with its unpredictabilities. Spencer W. Kimball, a prophet of God, awoke one morning when he was 10 with one side of his face paralyzed, which must have been a difficult plight for a young boy to find himself in. His brothers and sisters were typical brothers and sisters and joked about the strange look on his face. But Spencer was equal to the task. he simply joked back that his own laughter was a one-sided affair. Now, that's not bad for a 10-year-old. If a 10-year-old boy can learn to laugh at himself, so can we. It's worth the effort. The other day, a fine young lady and her boyfriend had been skiing, and she had proven more agile than he. In other words, he had broken a leg and fractured his arm and was lying dejectedly in his hospital bed. This wise young lady, knowing of her friend's depressed state, breezed into his room and demanded, "Does this mean you won't take me to the dance tonight?" Well, before she left his room that day, the young victim was laughing at his situation and himself. Sometimes humor is more than just a laughing matter. Some believers, for instance, say that next to the heroic British situation, British humor did the most to fend off the German takeover in World War II. One sample. The famous story of the woman who was finally extracted from the rubble of her house during the London Blitz. When asked, "Where is your husband?" she brushed brick dust off her head and arms and answered, "Fighting in Libya, the coward." If you want to make the terrible, horrible, no good days of your life a little better, learn to laugh. Abraham Lincoln said it this way, "With the fearful strain that is on me night and day, if I did not laugh, I should die."